have a smartphone. A lot of the taxpayers under our purview are also enterprises, that is sole traders, that do not have time to sit behind the desk and start computing their affairs and depend highly on tax consultant. In my office in particular, I can have one taxpayer representing 20 people. To get to see the taxpayer is always a big issue. So, but with an app on the phone, it means that they'll be able to play around with the app, understand the taxes. We have pop-ups that will pop up reminding them of their responsibility. Enterprises will know when to start thinking about their VAT, and then they're also subject to pay VAT in particular, which is highly invasive. Because a lot of these companies also believe that, and how they're going to tell their taxpayers that they have to add VAT to their invoices. But if they have this app and it's constantly reminding them that VAT is important, whether you include it or exclude it, you still have to pay it, then they will take it more seriously. Also, I would also advocate for the further use of blockchain technology for our department in particular. I'm glad that FRS has started using it in formats where real time, we can see we have access to VAT paid. But the emerging tax, I would advocate, we need it ASAP, because especially for value-added tax, I would always emphasize, because most of our taxpayers do not like to pay VAT, even when they're collecting it. They assume it's part of their working capital. And I've had to explain to various taxpayers that, listen, it is not your money, it is our money you're collecting on our behalf. So with that, if we take our top 100 in per office that are actually really functional, and we include them in this trial run that FRS is carrying out along with large tax offices, it will be of great help to us. That means that real time we have direct access. And for those of us that do not know what blockchain technology is simply a decentralized digital ledger, whereby it is permanent in nature. It is not adjustable. So once a company is registered under it, as soon as real time we have access to the actual payment made. Also, I would also like to talk about what they call multilingual chat box using AI technology. This is the generation of the AI. So we can have a chat box whereby those of our taxpayers that barely understands English, for example, those that are selling in Balogun and co. So that would be a plus to us in terms of global taxation. But going on internally now, that's for the external. Now, even for us, it's unfortunate that even amongst us, we're still struggling with understanding it. So my question is to us, in general, to us as TIS, that what are we doing to help our staff further understand the tax pro max? I have issues whereby I would ask one of my staff, tell me what you collected, what's your collection at the end of the week? And they're scrambling. These are people that are supposed to use Tax Pro Max every single day. We're forever having to train and retrain them. So we ourselves have to further develop ourselves in terms of computer literacy. God so good, exams is now typing. So we just need to get comfortable with technology ourselves to be able to teach others, because what we don't know, we cannot teach. A taxpayer will come to the office and say, they have this problem. How are we going to even help them when even the ones that we have not even understood it? Now, talking about Tax Pro Max also, I would like to emphasize the bandwidth should be increased. For example, some of my taxpayers that want to submit documents find it hard to submit because the bandwidth of what they can actually attach to their during filing is limited. So internally, even though we're pursuing technology, we should also do our bit in increasing and having so that the taxpayers will have easier access to our own system. Also, we can use the I'm sorry. Then also in terms of integration, we can have a real-time system integration into our with our top taxpayers. even with emerging tax, we say we're emerging, most of our taxpayers are illiterate, most of our taxpayers do not have turnover. For the ones that do, we should be able to access their system online, on time, real time, using the API, so that at least those ones we know that this month, it also allows us to be able to predict our pending incoming income with our consistent taxpayers. I would tell you that technology is ever evolving. Then there cannot be one single answer on how to improve it, but we'll just keep trying. We keep looking at new systems, whatever technologies are in place all over the world, and keep imbibing it, understanding the mentality of our people and what we suit them. Going back to, I would also like to emphasize this app thing, because, I mean, introducing the app for me, I take it very personal, because, I mean, we're trying to catch them young. We can use this technology to catch them young. Children are always on the phone. They will help their mothers connect to our system. More so, we have things like Facebook, we have the WhatsApp pop-ups, we have the Instagram pop-ups, we have the YouTube pop-ups. That also can be used to advantage. It is part of technology. We can have advertising pop-ups, reminding people about taxes. It's all about collection, it's all about compliance, it's all about awareness, creating awareness for tax. Because it is amazing to me that since I've been tax controller, I will have people coming to sit in front of my table that they didn't even know they were meant to pay taxes, or that all their earning was commission. They didn't realize they had to file. And using whatever we have in our purview in terms of technology, and especially the smartphone. I find the smartphone very, very useful for this purpose. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm very sure the coordinating director will be happy to release you to technology department so you can, share some of these ideas with them and also work on it with them as well. But one of the things you talked about was training our staff, and then when CD made his presentation this morning, he talked about, building staff capability and how, we can help our staff, become better at the job and all that. So I'm speaking to Mrs. Comfort Oyini now. Now, we know that one of the major challenges we have across the service, and I'm sure it's also prevalent in Lagos, is that some of our staff sometimes get disenchanted, maybe because there's no adequate work tool or there's no capability to do the job. How can we help our staff to become better at the job? How can we motivate them? You have been tax controller, now you are head of a division in the department. So when there are challenges like this, what do you do? How do you think the tax controllers here and the heads of audits can improve their staff capability and productivity?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. I'm standing on existing protocol. Personally, what we do is that we identify these staffs. Human capital is a very serious one in any development. If you are driving the system, is somebody that will be behind the scene. And what we do is that we maintain an open release yourself. Because when you don't allow them to express themselves, you can't get anything better from them. So when they express themselves, in some cases, we correct them constructively. Because human beings are different. You put a little bit of psychology into it. When you correct them harshly, you might not likely get the best from anybody. So we correct them in love and show them what they are supposed to do. And we encourage them as well by giving them a award when they do something good. And my thesis here can bear us witness. Quarterly, we review the collection and we send them a letter of commendation so that it can boost their morale and their staff as well. It's not every time, like the past 2 weeks now, myself and my team will be going out. It's not every time visiting offices, both head of audit and the tax controller. It's not every time that you'll be blaming, shouting. We do such that we correct them. We look at it. What are you doing to encourage each other? Take, for instance, on the job training, we emphasize that a lot. Because when you organize training, to my amusement, Some will be there physically, their mind has wandered away. And the training may not even be relevant to the schedule they are handling. So we encourage on the job training. You as task controller, look at what your subordinates are doing. In our office too, we look at what our subordinates are doing. As a matter of fact, whatever we want in my own department, whatever we want to do, we set an example. By doing it, then I can give it or say, come, look at what I've done. This is the way I want it done. So that so doing, we are bringing them up, we are mentoring them. Because today we are there, tomorrow we will not be there, we are going out. So what is the legacy we are leaving behind? So we try to encourage our staffs by doing on-the-job training. And aside from that, we motivate them too. How do we motivate them? By word of encouragement. I'm surprised. Some people will say they don't have laptop, that they've not been given. Fine. In my own place, if we have not been given, we encourage you. If you can have smartphone, it costs money. Hone this job. Take it as your own. When you buy a laptop, if you are going or you are giving, you can go and replace that at home. So you cannot say you don't have a laptop, tools to work, when you are collecting bonus 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a question of encouraging ourselves. Let's be determined to put in our best into the work, which is what we are doing, and people are enjoying that. And aside from that also, we also look at the area of need. For instance, some people are good in technology. Some are good in some other aspects. We annex your strength. What is the strength you have? In that area, we maximize you there so that you can give us a better result compared to the other guy who can possibly look for companies. For instance, there are cases referred to us from offices. And you know, some of them, they will say they've tried, they've done this, they could not locate. And by the time I call small boys around and say, come, how better do you think you can get this thing? Some we can do through email. Some they say, don't worry, ma. We will go and look for. And before you know, they will find a way around it. The letter that they cannot dispatch from the respective offices, you will find them bringing the taxpayer up, and they will show face. So we encourage them continuously so that this work can be done seamlessly, and it will help us in achieving our role and our target as well.
Thank you very much, Ma.
You're welcome.
And so you spoke about training as well, and Mr. Okonkwo is also here. I'm sure he would respond to that in due course as well. So, Mr. Okonkwo, you are serving us very good purpose here. Thank you. So, moving on. So, we've spoken a lot about technology and how it can drive tax administration, how it can improve revenue administration overall. But we have some technology. It's not like we don't have at all. We have technology. For instance, a couple of years ago, data mining department was created to harness data and then, of course, share it with the operations staff so that we can, have, an overview of bank statement of taxpayers. And despite this, we still notice that, on some of the work that we're doing, particularly in compliance, which is audit, we still have low yields despite the additional data that we have received. We have the web portal as well that also helps in that regard. What could be responsible for this, Dr. Ondunse? Why are we not having better yield from audit? Why is the audit contribution to overall tax collection in the tax offices still under 5% and rarely gets to 10%? You have been head of audit, so I'm sure you can share your experience with us why it is so and how we can improve that in 2025 and going forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Frank. My CDs, People Service Group, my ETG, all the directors, and task controllers, and head of audit. Again, good afternoon. Based on the question you just asked, kudos to technology today. All over the world, technology has found its way to be a global village. When you look at our collection since 2010, just immediately after Mr. Fowler left. Technology has been the driver behind our collections. But despite that, we still have some gaps. That gap, it is something that we can address. Just like Madam Oyini said, are people willing to embrace technology? I know some of us here seated. Some, they cannot even operate the laptop that the management has even given to them. Not to talk of the apps that you have on your smartphone. So when you look at FRS today, there is still that gap in terms of technology. I remember when Madam Omogui first came into FRS, a lot of people were sent for IT training. Some of us that we could not, benefit from that in that year, we were managed to get Tokumbo laptop to train ourselves to where we are today. So, the skill gap is still one of those things that FRS still need to look into by training, continued training, about IT. Secondly, on the issue of data mining from data management
Tax data
management department. I know that there are a lot of issues surrounding that information being passed to the field offices. We have seen situations whereby you requested for information, and when they pass that information to you, you say that such information is not even relevant to what you are talking about. Sometimes you will see, by the time you analyze the statement, you keep seeing principal loan. And they want a feedback on what you have used it to do. How much have you collected from that information given to you? That is a problem. Because those that are going to field, you also discover that the information the taxpayer itself is having is even better than the one we are getting from data mining. From technology data management department. The one taxpayer giving to you is far, far better, and which can even give better yield. So, for me, I believe that FRS still need to do more. This morning, I spoke about fintech. I observe, I've been the other side in the other group, whereby you see some of the foreign companies coming into Nigeria to do business here. They are operating fintech accounts. In fact, if you remember some years back, what happened to UBA when a finance company in Port Harcourt, Umana, you remember, over 60% of UBA customer moved to Umana because of the issue of interest rate, the bigger interest rate. But what happened? So we still need to look at the issue of transaction history from the fintech. I am aware that I've taken this up with those who did a training for us in Ibadan, last year, that we still need to get the transaction history from fintech. You see some of them, MoneyPoint, OPay, PalmPay, many. And when you look at some of these fintech company we are talking about, they are owned by foreigners. Go and look at the history. They are owned by foreigners. So there is still need for integration between the FRS and CBN, because I got information that, in fact, OP, it is now, you can see their location. It is now, they are now filing returns to CBN. So I still want FRS management to look into that, how they can tap into that and ensure that valid information are made available for the purpose of compliance. Also, the issue of the desk audit and our auditor is a serious issue in FRS today. If there is a collaboration between the head of audit and the tax controller, honestly, you will see that the technology we have today can also help us, to get better yield. But because that collaboration is not there, no networking, everybody is working on their own as if they are in different islands. All of us, we have a common goal. And the common goal is to ensure that compliance is improved, collection is improved. So I'm talking to the tax controller and the head of office. Please try as much as possible to collaborate with one another. Team up to yourself. Sometimes, some of us here, we are even telling taxpayer not to attend to tax auditors. Every day in my division, I keep settling, between controller and... So, as far as that is concerned, collaboration is key, networking is key, sharing of information is key. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You raised some very salient issues in your contribution, one of which I'm going to come back to Mr. Dr. Oyebanji now, because when he spoke about ETD Lagos, he didn't, quite mention the issue of, lack of collaboration between audit and tax office. And essentially, one of the major reasons these groups were set up in February 2014 was because of collaboration. Management wanted greater collaboration between tax controllers and heads of audit, which was why GTOG was broken down into 3 groups, which succeeded the GTOG. And it appears that that's, seems to be a problem, continues to be a problem, and across the board. Because while you spoke just now, there were murmurs which seemed to affirm what you were saying, that indeed this was a problem. So, Dr. Oyebanji, is this a problem for tax audit yield? Is it contributing to the low tax audit yield we're seeing across the board? And how are you addressing this, if it is so?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Collaboration, and collaboration. When we initially started this new structure last year, we equally experienced arguments between tax controllers and heads of audit. In fact, in one of our functions, we reported and we deliberated, and the CD has to inform each and every one of us present in that deliberation that where there is no collaboration between the heads of audit and the tax controller, the two of them, we may remove them. To that extent, that has greatly solved this issue of, I'm not going to agree with the TC or the head of audits. But in Lagos here, what I've always been preaching is that we are set out for the same goal. And what is the goal? The goal is to get the ball rolling. Which ball are we getting rolling? The collection. Whether it comes from the audit or it comes from the office, it's still the same target we're aiming at. And as a result of that, we've been able to resolve that to a great extent. In fact, as a matter of policy, we've always been saying whatever cases that has been approved for the audit to work on, they should always share it with the tax controllers so that the two will not be working at opposite ends. And to a great extent, we have been able to achieve so much with this understanding. And in fact, this may be off record. We have witnessed the increase in the request by taxpayers that most times they don't want desk review of the current year. That has not been the practice in FIRS. All these compliance tools, compliance stages, the layers of desk review, tax audit, or quality investigation, they are all compliance too. The only difference is that the scope differs. So where the desk review stops, the audit steps in. And where the audit stops, the investigation comes into being. So with our continuous engagement with our tax controller and our heads of audit, we've been able to a great extent let them realize that to work together so that the goal of the organization can be achieved. Collaboration not really limited to the audit alone. In the course of collaborating, in fact, what we have done again in Lagos is what Oga actually mentioned in the morning. Where you discover that you have more or you need more hands, probably in the audit or in the office, to do a desk review, especially during our peak period, we have practiced that and it has worked for us in Lagos. So we co-opted from the office to join the audit, and at times from the audit to join the office. In fact, when taxpayers are asking, we don't want desk review, what we've been doing at times is to encourage the audit, go there, but don't go there alone. Go with a representative from the office, so that at the end of the day, whatever that relates to the current period, you can have enough information and you can come back to use that to raise your own additional assessment. To that extent, we've been able to reduce the area of conflict between the office, the tax controller, and the head of audit. But to my colleagues, I'll continue to, what will I call it, to appeal to each and every one of us that our job, we cannot be operating in silos. It's a complementary effort. Where one stops, the other one takes place. So, and as a result of that, at the end of the day, of what importance will it be if the audit is doing very greatly and the office is nowhere to be found? So we want to appeal to you to please ensure that the collaboration, and like Dr. Odosi mentioned, there could be knowledge gap, because what I have noticed again is everybody wants to go to audit. And we discover that most of our good hands have been moved to the audit. So if we collaborate very well, we could be able to share knowledge. We could be able to share knowledge. In fact, in some of our offices, they jointly hold technical sessions. In some of the presentation, there are times I will have to invite some of the tax controller and the heads of audit to deliberate on some issues. This tax bill that we have in the National Assembly, we had already started working on it in Lagos, with the intention that by the time the bill are passed into law, we'll have a seamless implementation. We already constituted a committee that are looking at the salient areas, and by the time it comes on board, we were actually waiting for the final draft from the National Assembly, if eventually passed. And we don't have to wait endlessly, stating that we want to understand the interpretation of some of the new things that we're going to have in the tax bill. So these are some of the collaborations we think we can employ to further increase the yield in the audit and the office.
Thank you. Webanji. So we'll wrap up in a few minutes now. So, but just like the city displayed, the dashboard earlier, and we saw that Lagos was the biggest contributor in terms of collection to ETG. Lagos also has the biggest debts and arrears in ETG as well. So, Mrs. Oyeni, what what is Lagos doing about this? And this has to be reduced. And how are you planning to reduce this in 2025? The incidence of deaths and arrears.
Thank you so much. The issue of debt, in actual fact, what we are trying to do is that from onset, we try as much as possible to advise all our offices not to raise frivolous assessments. Because some of these assessments, if you look at it critically, it may not be collectible. And it is due to some issue of knowledge gap, because at times we engage some of our offices. Can you demonstrate to us how you come about this? But be that as it may, some are legally collectible. They are debts that we are to collect. And what we are trying to do in that wise is that, one, we advise, don't wait until it becomes debt before you start pursuing them. Take for instance, when you go for audit or you do a desk examination, the assessments you are raising, from onset, let the taxpayer know he has to pay within a limited time. And some of us, from experience, after they've paid, maybe they apply, we pay on installment basis. We really go after them because of the fact that we have so many things. But like we advise, you have to detain some staff, not only those in debts and enforcement only. The schedule officer handling the case must be on top of his game by following up with the taxpayers. Because like all of us know, if our taxes are not deducted from source, we are not likely to comply. So given that premises, we encourage everyone to run after the debt. And moreover, these debts, they are like low-hanging fruits. If we are able to collect, it will shock up our collection as well. So we try as much as possible to minimize the level at which it is, not to allow any case to deteriorate to issue of debt. So from onset, we advise our tax controllers, the staffs, and even the audits that whatsoever you are raising, it is you and you that will collect it. And you have to be on top of your game from onset. You are raising, you pursue the collection, not just raising an assessment that is not collectible. And on the part of the taxpayer, we also encourage the offices. Some of them, they agree they are owing. And because of the situation in the economy, we normally, in some cases, they refer them to the office and we call them the taxpayers. We are emerging. We have to be friendly and at the same time very fair. We cannot afford to throw off the economic situation. We pacify them, persuade them. Because some of them will complain, we don't even know what our own is to collect. We are not accountable to usage. So we want you to please give us your payment terms. How do you want to pay? And that has been hidden. And I believe with these strategies, I want to believe that we will be able to collect all these debts by His grace.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the panel members. So, Dr. Dunsi, you would close this panel for us, and you are now a director. So, what is that new thing and that thing that you would do, innovation, technology, in whatever way that you can assist the group to improve overall compliance in 2025? What are the new strategies you want to recommend or suggest?
Thank you very much. Mine is not far-fetched from all what the panel members have said. I would say this, that collaboration with other groups is one of those things that I think it will help us in 2025. We need to build up relationship with other groups in such a way that, for example, like audit, when they go out and audit, their source document will be useful for the emerging tax auditors or the tax office. We have seen so many companies in iron and steel industries that some of them, they are not charging VAT. And you know that some of these companies, they are in our large tax offices spread across the country. So having such information, it will help the emerging tax office to pursue the VAT collection. Apart from the collaboration, capacity building is very, very important. Thank God in the presentation that we had from our CD this morning, he made mention of it. Train the trainer, right? I pray that your tenors are, as you continue, that capacity building will be a priority that we are going to enjoy. Then, to my colleagues, the issue of strategic policy of the management is also a function of the success of the emerging tax group. Provision of infrastructure, good offices, good environment, investment in infrastructure, that is IT, is key. We have seen so many laptops, even though the accounting policies say 4 years. But today we are seeing some of us that are still using laptop that are as old as 6, 7, 8 years. Anyway, Madam Oni made mention of one thing, that your smartphone can do the magic. And lastly, I also want a situation to help the emerging task group to achieve the goal of revenue collection in a way that the tax controller and head of audit, they should be able to have effective communication with their members. Because you see, most of us, we operate in a different island. You don't delegate. Yes, we have seen many offices that we have settled issue, between the controller and, the subordinate, because no delegation. We have been to an office that even the business intelligence, they don't know what it's all about. And like Madam said today, that unit has been on since last year. But as we are speaking, it has not. So I pray that collaboration, the cooperation and networking will be our agenda for 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished panel. A round of applause for this panel. I'm sure they've done justice to this conversation. And just to mention, before the two CDs speak, that there will be a breakout session after the presentation by the professor, and part of it, the conversations that will be going on during the breakout session will be the conversations we've had here, that part of the analysis you are going to make, that's of the professor, and of course the paper the CD presented earlier. So we'll be sharing the details of the groups that you fall under just after the professor finishes his presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and we thank you for having us here. CD, sir.
Thank you very much. Please, can you put your hands for the panel of discussants? They did justice. You remain there for a while, my panelists.
Sorry? Yeah, mine, it's not really a question, but just general comments. But before I say my comments, I want to specifically acknowledge and thank Mr. Okonkwo, the CD People's Service Group, for honoring our invitation. When we had the Abuja session, which was the first, he was the first CD that reported, to that venue that very day. And he's here with us again. We don't take it for granted, sir. Thank you very much for coming. So it's just a general comment on, I really love this panel and all that you have discussed. It's just going to be a general comments. Mr. Ibanji, on your own presentation, you talked about collaborations. Of course, we'll continue to do that even with other departments. So that should actually sink into us. Madam Kufuor, I really loved what you said on this technology. So I'm directing you now to put it together and, of course, give to the rapporteur. It's going to form part of our report. If you could remember that for the directors, the chief of staff challenged us in the Abuja session that we should come up with something we want them as technology group to do for us. I've gotten one now in Lagos, luckily for us. So please put it together and give to the rapporteurs. Madam Oyeni, of course, this is a lady that I offered to give a tax controller role. She was there for just some months and called me that she doesn't want to be a TC. She prefers to go work with the director so that she can have a spread. And I can see reasons why you have done that, Ma. Thank you so very much. You said you, most of the time, award and recommend your staff when they do something good. The question is when they do something bad. Oh, really? I like that. So please, just continue with that.
On Monday there was one. I will not mention it. I have to call someone her
So please don't shield them.
at all.
Don't shield them. If they do something nice, fine, recommend them. If they are in any way, punish them. Just a couple of months ago, a lot of you are probably aware, I've had calls to remove 2 tax controllers from Lagos. I've had calls to someone, I think, a staff to my office in Abuja. So it's a two-way thing. Please, thank you very much. Mr. Odunsi, thank you very much, the new, what do you call it, brand new director that we have in the service. You see, training is good, but let me just sound it to us again. If you had allowed the service to train you, you wouldn't have been where you are today. That's the truth. You wouldn't have become a director if not for the fact that you've added some self-training. Are we together? So this is a lesson. He is a doctor, a PhD, an old one for that matter, not the small ones like us. He is a director, and I believe it is not FRS that has trained him to become what he is today. So Dr. Odusi should be a challenge to us. Develop yourself in addition to whatever one the FRS gives to you should just be a bonus. You talked about the tax data management department. I say this most of the time. That information will all just serve as a guide. I don't expect you to take all the TDMD information and data hook, line, and sinker. It serves as a guide to you. And in addition to that, probably a lot of us don't know, we also have another superior source of information, which is the AEOI, the Automatic Exchange of Information. I had a discussion with the CD, Mr. Bonpola, some couple of weeks ago. So if it entails you, of course, going into that as well, you can write to me. I hope you know what that entails, the Automatic Exchange of Information. So we do the AEOI. So we should not limit ourselves to the TDMD. TDMD will only serve you as a guide. Because if somebody has been inactive, has not been filing, and you see some information there, that's a trigger. If you see some elements of foreign transactions here and there, you can escalate to the automatic exchange of information. When earlier in the morning you talked about the fintechs, my thought was on the operators. It was at this panel that I now got to find out that you're talking about the transactions that go through the fintechs, not the operators. That is another challenge to you. I want a comprehensive presentation also to my office through your director for now on that, please. And sorry? Thank you very much, sir. Your director now too. So that's one of the essence of retreats. You should have something new, a takeaway. So that's another one that I'm going to also have. So, thank God the CD PSG is here. The CD PSG has the Human Capital Department under his group. He also have the Career and Skills Department under his group. So I still maintain my stand. if any tax controller and head of an audit in an office are not in good terms, I will still maintain it. I will remove the two of them. That still stands. If we borrow from the Emerging Taxpayers Department, FCT, I now notice whenever we are having meetings, because I frequent their monthly meetings, the heads of audits and TCs always sit together. They always sit together. I have noticed that. So, you don't have an option. As a tax controller and your head of audit, you must collaborate and work together. If you're not going to work together and I get information, I'll remove the two of you. That still stands. Another observation is, of course, and there shouldn't be any friction between the TC and heads of an audit. The TC is supposed to review current year, while the heads of audit does audits for back years. And I don't like it when the taxpayer will be the one to opt for audit. You don't teach us our job. Whenever a tax controller comes to me, a taxpayer that I want to be audited, you know there is something. If you come to me that you want me to tax audit you as a taxpayer, I'd rather take you to tax investigation. Yes. And you don't teach us our job. If there's a current year filing and a taxpayer comes that he wants to be audited, insist as a tax controller that you must do a part of your own job, which is the review. You must do the review. And by that will not be choking the audits with very unnecessary audit cases that may not be viable. So if any taxpayer files, as a tax controller, you must desk review before you pass him on to the head of audit. And if he insists that he wants to be tax audited, you should know there is something. You'd rather refer him for, investigation. And there is something about this thing. If you have noticed, if you have read the recent memo released signed by the EC on audits and even investigation cases, we are the ones that are even supposed to refer such cases to investigation. So we have levels of compliance from the desk filing to the audits to investigation. Are we together? And please, for the avoidance of any doubt, don't go and audit any case that is not approved for you by either your director, recommended by the director, and not approved by the CD. And if there's any ongoing case under investigation that was not referred by us, please let me know. As an office, as an organization, we must have standards. And that was what was signed by the executive chairman just a couple of days ago. And even before he signed it, that is what we know is the standard. You cannot just decide to go and investigate a company. Investigation is a very serious case. So for mere non-compliance, you shouldn't subject the taxpayer to a full-blown investigation. Intonations in it. So investigation cases must be referred to investigation department. Debts and arrears, I like the way you're handling it, Ma. But let us not forget, we have a full-fledged department, debts management and enforcement department. So when these debts are there, like I stated in the morning, you cannot solve all these issues. If the guy doesn't want to pay, if he's recalcitrant, you can't help it. All you need to do is for you to now forward such cases to the debt management department. And don't forget, you just don't send names. With all the annexures, all your efforts, all the reminder letters, put them together before you now forward to debt enforcement there. Sorry, I wrote something. I can't even see what it is. Yeah. So on the breakout session, please, you're laughing, I'm fasting. So on the breakout session, please, I want full participation. If you have noticed our retreat this year, it's not the normal retreat that will just come and wind down, enjoy hotel environments, rooms, and go back to our respective. This time around, if you have noticed, we will do our retreat, we really get some takeaways from it. So the breakout sessions should please be taken as, serious, give it the seriousness that it deserves, please. So that at least from the topics we're going to deliberate on will be something that will come and present, and it's going to form part of our report at the end of, this 2-day retreat. Thank you very much. These are my few observations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please put your hands together for the CD for those wonderful interventions. The CD has almost tackled most of your questions that you are hoping to ask. Okay. So let's have 2 questions from here. Do we have ushers in the house? Ushers, can you wave your hands? All right. So can I just have 1 microphone, sir? Thank you. Before your questions, once more, may I call on my CD PSG for also his interventions very quickly, sir.
Thank you once more, the panel of discussants, for a wonderful discussion and the observations you made. Well, we need together. This job of tax administration, we have to work together as a team. On the issue of collaboration, it has to be if we have to succeed. Because I give you an example where an audit team goes to do an audit, and maybe this company has filed the returns for the year, and the turnover reported in that account is maybe 100 million naira as turnover. And the audit team goes and discovers the turnover is 1 billion naira, comes up with the report, comes up with the additional taxes to be paid, and they pay. Next year again, the same company files return and says the turnover is maybe 120 million. You go again and do an audit, you find out that it's 1.5 billion. You do it and file it away. We are not helping ourselves. You understand? This company will continue to underreport, knowing that we are not working together as a team. They will continue to underreport their turnover and underpay their taxes. So these things should be done. We should be done from the work done by the other team and then build from there. Because if we don't, these taxpayers will continue to take us for a ride. Because I've seen it happen. Where you go and do an audit, the turnover is so high. You go and they come up with additional, the company will still continue doing the same thing. And it continues on and goes on like that. So that's why there's need for collaboration. Thank God 2 of the audit and the tax office proper are in the same department now. That makes it even more necessary for us to work as a team together. And if you don't, I don't know, some people are not always contented. If not, I don't really know why we should not work together as a team. Because there may be lack of contentment. If not, there's no other reason why we will not work together as a team. If not, we'll be missing a lot. And when the taxpayers know that we're not organized as a team, they will capitalize on that and continue to do what they have been doing. That's my comment on that. And then on the issue of capacity building, first of all, let me talk about the issue of staffing. Yes, we are aware that Lagos offices are understaffed. But I know some offices are also overstaffed in Lagos. So why not we point out those offices and then move staff from those offices that are overstaffed to those that are understaffed, and then make up for the balance if they are not enough. Because I know some offices in some areas are overstaffed. Is it not possible? So if that's the case, let us do that, staff with that, and then for those ones that are not enough, we cannot make up. And let us also indicate, report, look, I have to so number of officers. I need this number more and more to make up for the staff I need to work properly. That's on that. And this issue of capacity building. you know, the issue of self-training has been highlighted by CD. We have to, training is moving from corporate training to self-training, self-development. You have to develop yourself as time goes on, because the budget we have for training as a service can never be enough to train everybody. So you have to develop yourself. Mentoring, coaching, also part of training. Let us use them as well to bring up our younger ones, to bring them up to the level we need them to be. It's not only when we go for formal training in Abuja or Lagos or anywhere that is training. Let us use that coaching. We have experienced people in the service. Let us use them to do technical sessions, to do mentoring and coaching, so that we bring up the younger ones. Because as time goes on, many of us will be leaving. The people we leave behind, how competent are they? How able are they to be able to take over the mantle? So let us please use that to make sure we bring up the younger ones, so that we'll be up to task. Because on the issue of compliance, and I also want to suggest that let our KPIs maybe be simplified this time around. Take for instance an office that has 1,000 live persons. You can say to increase the live persons by 20% at the end of the year. That will give you how many? 1,200. So if you do it year 1, year 2, year 3, you can see number of live persons in the service and the office will be increasing. And also say even the same thing happens to number of cases we audit in a year. You can say we audited 1,500 cases this year. This year, let a KPI be to increase number of cases audited by maybe 20 or 30%, so that it will be now be incremental. And also that also will happen to collection, actual collection arising from audit. So at the end of the year, if every office is able to increase by 20% number of cases audited and actual collection from audit, you can see gradually will be building up as the years go by. Will be building up instead of coming up with KPIs that are that are subjective. These are simple KPIs. Say increase it by this social number, and you know the actual number actual collection. You see it, you can see it. That way you can quantify it. So if somebody says you didn't meet KPI, it is easy to prove. It is very easy to prove. Say I met my KPI. If you talk of number of compliance, those that are active cases, that one is easier to prove. So I want us to also think about it. Let us simplify it further to reduce it to figures, numbers, because that's actual performance. Because that will also translate to higher tax yield, higher tax collection for field offices. That's what I want to suggest in that respect, because that makes it easier to assess everybody. Having said that, I also want to congratulate those that have been promoted this year. In fact, this year, 2024 promotion, I think that was the highest we have had so far, over 3,200 and something that were promoted. That was the highest we had so far in the service. I hope this year will be higher, God willing. Those that were not successful, I want to encourage you, don't be disillusioned. Continue to work hard. God's promotion is the best. If the service does not yet recognize you, God knows everybody that's making genuine effort. God will reward you the way He thinks best. He is the rewarder of all diligent men and women. He knows how best to reward His children, not the one that's done by service. That is important as well, but God's reward is also very important. Having said that, I want to thank you once more for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands for the coordinating director, People's Services Group, for those interventions, those words of wisdom. He also went very philosophical, like a pastor. So we heard you. Please continue to do your best, and by the grace of God, your best will be recognized. Still waiting for questions. If while the interventions are going on and your questions have been answered, there is no need to ask more questions. So I've reduced it from 4 to 3. Your hands are up, right? Do I still have 4? Let's have just 4, not 6. So you can merge your questions. So Usher, we have, sir, you're number 1, sir. The man with the cap behind, you're number 2. There's number 3 behind there. Wow. Number 4. Sir, yours will be intervention. Okay. Number 4. Then, sir, do I take one more? Yeah. Okay. No, I've already taken you. So there's number 5 here, sir. All right. So just before you, can we have a female to? I don't want to be taken on later. Do you have a female there? All right, so that makes 6, sir. Now, these are the ground rules. One question for one question. Don't stand up and give us a catalog of questions. So just take one, and if your question has been taken, there's no need to ask that same question. So before we go on to this, Director South, Dr. Sir.
All right, my cities and ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make an intervention, and very simple, based on the panel discussion that we have. I think the whole essence of us gathering here is to be able to drill down and get the best and deliver on the mandate that the management has given us. And that's why we need to take everything that's been discussed here very seriously. And one of the things that I find very, very important for us as the emerging taxpayers group and the department under us is that we are like we incubate, and we nurture, and then we transfer those files to the other, service operational arms of the service. I mean the medium tax and the large tax. And if we don't get it right from the beginning, then it will affect the results that we get later on. So in as much as we try to build from the beginning to get people or to get taxpayers that will migrate into the other operational arm, then we probably have to take our job very seriously, because they rely on us to feed them. And one of the things I've discovered in all this discussion and my finding is that how well do we actually know our taxpayers? We know the mandate has been given to us. How well do we know them? Do we actually segment, stratified? Oga spoke about stratification and clustering. I think that's an idea, that's one area that we probably need to spend more time on, to be able to further stratify our taxpayer. I know that we deal mostly with the unstructured taxpayers. I mean, when we say that they are informal, it's not because when you say they are informal, they have a way of knowing what they sell, how much profit they make. So I won't call them informal. I call them, maybe they don't have a structured book. Even among those unstructured book, have we been able to stratify them to see? Okay, look, I can probably profile all my taxpayer based on their behavior, their compliance behavior. Those are probably that will do the right thing. Those that will not do the right thing, those that will file as at when due, those that don't even actually want to file again. So we probably need to be able to drill down and be able to have this different classification so that we can develop a suite or a program that will fit each of this category of taxpayer that we are further drilled down or we are further stratified. So I think going back, it will help us to be able to profile all our taxpayers and be able to look at their compliance behavior, and so that we probably know the right approach that we begin to implement for these different category of taxpayer that we have identified. So it will help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. I think your questions have been answered. Do we still need to take more questions? My CD, there will still be town hall. So can we just leave this? Those in support say aye. Please clap hands for yourselves. You are wonderful people. Okay, so if we still have our photographer in the house, there will be, let's have photograph with the panelists. The panelists, okay, can you be upstanding? The panelists, okay, we want to have you in pictures. We want to be sure we have you here. Okay. Can I ask my CD to please identify with them, sir? Thank you. Can I also have my CD coordinating director PSG to please identify with them? Sorry, you're closer to them. Closer to. Yes, the CDs should be in the middle. Yes. Very good. Thank you. All right, we'll do more pictures later. Very quick. Okay, my panelists, thank you very much for a wonderful job done. May you just take your bow now as you continue majestically to your seats. Thank you. Please put your hands together for my panelists. They did a wonderful job, but there are no questions to ask them. All right. May I, before the next paper presentation, may I very quickly invite one of ours, the Deputy Director representing Director Human Capital, to just come forward and do a 2 minutes brief. Can we listen now? Human Capital. Let nobody ask a question that what this one did this one. So please put your hands together for Mr. Titus Ayeni. Can you put your hands together? Human Capital is talking. Please put your hands together once more. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My CDs, good afternoon. All protocol duly observed. I bring you greetings from my director, Madam Angel Fadaunsi. I'm representing her at this very gathering. My name is Ayeni Titus, Deputy Director in charge of Policies and Performance Management for FRS. My own take-home from here is that we should do more of collaborations, yeah? And I can tell you for free that we've enjoyed collaboration from, the best collaboration from this very group, ETG. Can we give our CDs a round of applause, please? Because I'll just dissect a bit because I want to, when we had that interview, we broke into different panels. And my CD's team was one of the best teams throughout that exercise. I think we can give him a round of applause, please. That's the whole essence of collaboration. Because I see that we want to begin to work together. Probably we've been doing things in isolations before. Everybody trying to do their own thing and all that. But going forward, and I'm sure that is the direction the management is going, that we must all work together as a team and get result and productivity on. So, we spoke about technology and all of that, which is what we are using to champion whatever we are doing at this retreat. Before now, I'm sure that we all know where we are coming from. So we'll be able to appreciate where we are now and where we think we are going. So if you are not technology inclined, trust me, you need to just find your way in. Because I remember during this last promotion exercise, everything was all online. And some people, simple instruction that is given to you, If you move, if you shift or misbehave, the computer will identify you and log you out. But some people still stood up and say, some people are disturbing me and they have to go and correct them. And then you get no value for your score. And then you keep writing to human capital to resolve your issue. How can human capital help you, for goodness sake? What I'm just saying in essence is technology has come to stay. And we are using it going forward from here. That is our, the song or the motto going from this our retreat. Technology has come to stay. We must all embrace it, and then we must all use it to our own advantage. So far, on behalf of my director, I want to say we wish you a good retreat. Even as Randall from Uyo, the best is yet to come from us. You are the grassroots. You can do it. I can do it. The only thing that is permanent is change. If I'm not ready to embrace that change, that means probably you are just saying, I want to ease myself out. But that shall not be our portion. Thank you so much, and God bless. If you want to ask me questions, I'm here, so that you don't say, this guy just came to run one thing and then run away. If you have one question or anything you want to ask, I'm here. That's why I'm representing my director. I'm here. And I have the backing of my CD. He's seated as well. Any questions, please? Just one or two, then.
Hold on to you so that you'll be able to answer. Okay. You know, with the permission of my CD, sir, I just want to use this opportunity to ask the Director Human Capital, you know, ably represented by Mr. Titus Ayeni here, to please, you know, it's an appeal. It's also a status, a request for a status update, because I have 3 regional heads for TPSD. This was approved in order to ensure that TPSD deepens her engagement and collaboration with each of the regions, the directors and the heads of offices, right? So these 2 divisions or regions, Lagos, which is the major one, and Southwest, I have 2 DDs. They have no staff, 0. They work alone. And I have requested for staffing for these 2 regions, and up to now, nothing. So I just wanted to find out from you, and that you are here, what are you doing how can you support me to support ETG in these regions, please?
Okay, thank you so much, my director. I can tell you for free that your request will be addressed. I have the backing of my CD. I have the backing of my CD, and I'm telling you that your request will be addressed. It might not be immediate as you think, but definitely it must be addressed to be able to give whatever that we need to do at the field out there, the best that you need to deliver. Don't worry, it will be addressed, man. No, it will be addressed. It will be addressed, please. Yes, just one more, then I can shut down, please. Just one more question, and then I'll shut down. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I can hear you, please. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Your point is well noted. Now, you remember last year we went out for manpower audit. Yeah? Okay, the whole essence of manpower audit is to identify, based on the office, the category that office belongs. There are different categories, right? And then they have the capacity or the number of people that are supposed to be in each office. Now, we are not leaving the responsibility of moving any staff from any office to you. It is our responsibility. So that's why when we come to you, you know, the first thing I said was issue of collaboration. I said we must work together. And we started this with all of this manpower audit thing, and we'll come to your office to sit with you to say, okay, look, let's even understand what you have. What are your needs as far as manpower is concerned, so that we can address those other areas that concern manpower. Now, for your own, we are not leaving the responsibility for you to do. We are just telling you that all these issues, by the time the report comes out, that helps. We have overstaff and then probably, you know, push them around to where they are needed, where their hands can be, you know, put for effective use. So, for you, we are not leaving that responsibility to you. It is our responsibility, and it will be done in due course. Please.
Please put your hands together for Mr. Ayeni for those interventions on issues relating to human capital. Please, if you have further questions, identify where he's seated, and you can take more questions. If the questions are beyond him, we have the coordinating director here who will intervene. If the questions are also beyond him, our chairman is at the head office. Thank you. We will continue in our program so far. Now, we will be having a presentation. The only professor in our midst. Am I correct? We have doctors, but we have a professor in the house. So he is, for now, the only professor in our midst. Not until some other doctors become professors. Okay, all right. All right, there was a little break because of power outage. It was almost feeling like a grid collapse, but that wasn't the case. So, very quickly, as I was saying, the only professor in our midst, he holds a PhD in accounting and is also a chartered accountant. He obtained his first degree, BSc Accounting from the University of Abuja, proceeded to the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University to obtain an MSc in Banking and Finance from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, proceeded to Bayero University, Kano, to obtain a PhD from Bayero University, Kano. He is specialized in financial reporting, corporate financing, and management. He has spent 15 years as a lecturer. He has worked in more than 5 universities. He is a member of several professional bodies. And he has won several awards. Please, can we put our hands together for Professor Adeza Farouk, a professor of accounting and financing from the College of Private Sector Accounting, Annan University, Kwal, Plateau State. Please put your hands together for him. Make it bigger and bigger. The only professor in our midst today.
Good afternoon. The coordinating director, ETG, and the coordinating director, PSG, then other directors of ETG here seated, and other directors under FIRS, and the participants. I am delighted to be here this afternoon to present a topic titled Unlocking Your Potentials, the Power of Productivity for Personal Growth. But I will start my presentation by asking you a thought-provoking question that will guide us through the presentation. The questions are in 3 forms. The first that I will ask you is that how are you prepared to leave FIRS? In what form? Our exit from our place of work might come in 3 forms. The first is that you may decide to quit in the middle. The second is that you might leave at the point of your retirement. And the third, we may not be able to stop it, but we pray may we reach retirement age. Death. Even at the point of that, how are you prepared to leave the service FIRS? Now, my second question is that at the point that you eventually leave this, okay, only this. All right, at the point you eventually leave FIRS, will you be celebrated? How do you want to be celebrated? And the third question is that after your retirement, after even the death, after quitting the FIRS midway, how do you want to be remembered? Will your name still be called even after you have exited FIRS? Your name can be called in 2 ways. in positive way or in the negative way. All of these things I talk about centered around your level of productivity while you work with FIRS. So, but however, I want us to look at the concept productivity. It can be split into two. The first takes product, and the second segment takes activity. So let's see. Then we look at our own self as the activity that must promote FIRS as the product. Now, for an activity to take place, it requires us to act. So you must act for there to be an activity, and it's only when there is an activity we can promote a product that we want to sell, which is the FIRS as a product. So, while we keep thinking about the product, the FIRS itself that we are working for, this is not moving. The MC. Can you help me move the slide? All right. Okay. All right. I'll start with my welcome address by saying that I'm honored to be speaking with you today about unlocking your potential through productivity. And as we explore the theme of harnessing technology and innovation for tax compliance, I did like to focus on the importance of productivity in achieving our personal as well as professional goals. It's very important because you as an individual must be useful to yourself before you can be useful to the service. During the presentation earlier, somebody said something and I said, in Latin maxim, we call it nemo dat quod non habet, that you cannot give what you do not have. So you as an individual must possess that quality. You must be ready to give back to yourself before you can give back to the service. Therefore, by the end of this my presentation, I hope to empower you with practical tips and strategies to boost your productivity, unlock your potentials, and achieve greater success in your careers as well as your personal lives. Now, by way of introduction, when we say productivity, some might look at productivity as being able to put in and also get an output from what you have actually put in. So they say productivity is the efficient use of resources to achieve maximum output. Meaning that our expectation is that let's put less and get more. All right? Because once you put more and you get less, it amounts to wasting of resources. We are spending more on you in terms of training, but yet the result is not actually yielding anything back to the service. So productivity is essential for achieving success in all areas of life, including your career, your relationships, and also your personal growth within the service. Then not only that, not quite responding. All right. Productivity can also be put in its simplest form as simply efficiency with which resources are used to produce goods and services. For FIRS, you don't produce anything that we can call product, but you render what? Services. So how efficient is your services? How are you able to put those resources together to achieve a maximum service delivery within the organization? FIRS as an organization cannot on its own deliver these services. It's those individuals that work within the organization that can deliver those services. So we must ask of ourselves as an individual, what am I putting in? And that was why I asked the question earlier, that by the time you leave the service of FRS, what can we say about you in your absence? I remember even during the retreat in Kano, some of the presenters were mentioning names of those who have served, who have worked with the service. Why? Because of what? Their positive contribution. What do you want us to say about you at the point that you leave the service? So productivity is not just about getting more done in less time, but rather it's about achieving more of what matters most to you. Earlier during the presentation, somebody mentioned that is it collection that is more important to us, or is about compliance? That we should be more focused that if the target for this year is about compliance, the most important thing that should drive the achievement of 2025 goal should be that compliance. So ask yourself, what is it that matters most within your unit, within your department, that you needed to achieve within the year? So that will serve as a driver of you achieving your productivity. Now, what are the benefits of productivity? One, once you are productive within your organization, it assists in terms of increasing your level of confidence. Because it's only when you try things over and over again, you become what? Perfect. So it increases your level of what? Confidence, because you're productive. I can tell you, and I've said this in the previous retreat we had, I said, by virtue of my position, there are things I shouldn't be doing within the university. Why? Because people feel I can actually deliver on those mandates. They push them over to me. Now, why I still agree to do those responsibilities that are not actually mine is because I want to leave a good legacy. That even once you quit, people will say, how I wish this person was here. That's at the time he or she was here, things are get done as at the time it should be done. So think about yourself as an individual and begin to think of how you can leave a legacy while you serve within FRS. Now the next is reduced stress. Because once you pile up a lot of work, files keep coming to your table and you file them, you're not being productive. You're not actually treating those files and moving them to the next department or units that should handle them. What you are simply doing is that what you are increasing the level of stress. So once you are productive, it assists you to reduce what? Stress. Because as the files comes in, you treat them as at when due. So you must prioritize those tasks and manage the time effectively so you can reduce the stress and feel more in control. Now the next is also the fact that once you are very productive, it's not moving. It improves your work-life balance. What are we saying in essence is that once you push things over, even while you're at home, you can still be called upon that certain things need to be done. Ordinarily, that you should be dealing and having enough time to spend with your family, your attention is still needed back in the office. So by so doing, you don't have what we call the work-life balance. There should be a balance. You shouldn't give all your time to the job. Your family also needs your attention. I remember while we were doing master's program, we were asking the lecturer too much questions. And he turned and looked at us and said, if I'm to answer all the questions you are asking me, if I get home, I'll be tired to interact with my wife. So ask less questions so that I have much energy when I get home to interact with my family. So what am I saying in essence is that once you are productive and you are doing things as expected at the right time, it assists you in maintaining a balance between your work as well as your life. Then the next is it assists you to also create more free time for you. Because once you don't pile up your responsibility, you have free time to do other things or to attend to other official duties as they come. But once you pile them up, you don't even have time to attend to other official engagement that might also need your attention. I can tell you there's a difference between working hard and working smart. You can be working hard, you will still get results, but it's better you work smart than to work hard. If, for example, a tax controller decided that, okay, I want you to visit so office and provide me information about their lax tax payment. An individual may decide, go to that office, bring information about the lax tax payment. That individual has actually worked very hard. But the smarter one will go and ask information beyond just the lax tax payment. How much did they pay? When did they pay them? So that individual is providing you more information with just one responsibility you have assigned. That individual is working smarter. But the other one is just what? Working hard. So don't get surprised if the person working smarter get promoted and you who is working harder don't get promoted. Because the human resource, the People Service Group mentioned earlier that over 3,000 were promoted, and if you don't get promoted, be rest assured that God's promotion is the best. To me, the difference is just because some worked smarter and they got it, and some are simply working hard. So change the narrative from working hard to what? Working smarter. Then the next is also better health. You see, once you do what you're supposed to do at the right time, you'll be able to manage your health. You don't have any health challenges. I can tell you, once you have a pile of work that you are supposed to do and you don't do them, you realize that even for you to be able to manage your health become a very big challenge. Because by the time your thinking is divided to treating several files, attending to complaints coming from various offices, before you begin to have some health challenge. So once you do the right thing and you are productive when you are supposed to be productive, it assists you in improving your health. Now the next, these are personal benefits you are expected to gain from being productive. Then we also have the professional benefits that you're expected to have from being productive at your workplace. The first is career development. I've just mentioned it earlier. Once you are known for being productive, you can be rest assured that you will get promotion. Somebody somewhere who is spotting you in your office will promote you. Your career will move faster. Why? Because they know that this is the only person that can give us this result. I mentioned during our Kano retreats that somebody was actually given promotion. Why? Because of what the person had been contributing time and time again. So if such an opportunity comes, the CD might decide that since this person is putting in a lot of effort, let me also assist the person career-wise. So you can have career advancement as a result of what you're being productive. Then the next one is increased earning potential. And that was why I asked the question earlier, that how do you want to leave FRS? Don't just limit yourself alone to the services you render to FRS. You also be productive personally for yourself, building yourself. Why am I saying this? Because you have life after FRS. So how do you want to increase your earning potential? I don't want a situation that after your retirement you have to come back and ask for a space in the office. once you train yourself, once you are productive, I can assure you, even outside FRS, you have a job waiting for you. You have a lot of activities that are lined up for you. But the first thing first is for you to make yourself productive. Then the next is improve job satisfaction. Once you are productive, you'll be satisfied on the job because you are going to get results. I have seen people who come to office, they play computer throughout the entire day, go back home without adding any value to the organization. Ask them, they are not satisfied. They are not satisfied. They know the service is paying them salary, but within them they know they are adding no value to the service. It brings about what? Job dissatisfaction, because you are not productive. But we'll talk about it, what can lead to job dissatisfaction or one not being productive. Now the next is better time management. Once you are productive, it assists you in terms of what? Managing your time. I've always said this, that some of us don't have the skills to actually manage time effectively. Part of the way you can be productive is to manage your time. You can actually make a plans for yourself, what you want to handle at a particular point in time. Once you're able to schedule a time or a make-do list for yourself, I can tell you it will assist you in terms of what? Being productive on your job. Then the next is enhance reputation. And this still takes me back to why I asked the question earlier, that how do you want to be remembered after you leave FRS? Do you have any reputation left? Will people be ready to welcome you back home anytime you visit? It is based on how productive you are now. How responsive you are to the service will make people welcome you back anytime you visit again. So it can assist in terms of what? Enhancing your reputation, even within the service while you are still serving, such that people look up to you because you are productive, you are doing what is expected, and you are making a mark, a positive impact to the service. Now, not only that, apart from the professional benefits that you can also get, we also have the other benefits that you can derive from being productive, which is financial. Now, first among the financial is increased revenue. Remember that FRS, as we have seen it as a product, is out for what? Increased revenue. They are a revenue generating agency. All right? So we require to be productive so that we can increase that revenue base of FRS. Because it's only when we increase the level of activity, we can sell the product, which is FRS, to the people. Because the way and manner at which you sell the product can also determine the level of revenue we can raise for the service. Not only that, it can also help in terms of what? Reducing cost. Once you are productive, there is no idle resources. It's only when you are not productive you become what? Idle. So the service keeps spending money on you and nothing to show for it. So once you are productive, it assists in reducing the cost. Then it also improved the cash flow. If any organization wants to improve their cash flow, then the employees should be highly productive within the service. Then not only that, it can also maybe it's the battery, increase competitiveness. You see, once you are productive, people want to copy from you. People want to learn from you. I can assure you, that there are so many people that are looking up to you, that are hoping to become like you in the future. Anytime I listen to Mr. Frank, the MC, he usually addresses some people that he's looking up to, that he hopes to grow up and be like them. Why? Is because of how productive they have been in the service, how they have grown over time. So he also wished to grow like them and become like them. So once there is, a culture of productivity within the organization, it helps increase the level of competitiveness within the organization. And we can be rest assured that that will assist us in terms of marketing the FRS as a product. Then not only that, the final one, better investment decision. Because once you are productive, your business can make better investment decision and also be able to allocate resources more efficiently and effectively within the service. So these are some of the financial benefits that are derivable from being productive within the service. Then what then? Okay, these are the social benefits. We have improved relationship because it's foster collaborations among colleagues. Once you know that this person is very productive, you will be willing to learn from the person. And gradually you realize that you are becoming a friend to that individual. Not only that, it can also help increase community involvement. Why am I saying this is that, I said, what do you want to be remembered for? Not only about you being productive to the organization you serve, how are you also promoting that organization within your community through corporate social responsibility? That somebody will say that as at the time you are working with Federal Inland Revenue, this is what you have contributed. All right? It shows some level of personal productivity within the service. Don't just think about FRS, think about the community, because we're taking away from them. So what are we giving back to them in terms of our own contribution to the community? Then not only that, better work-life balance, I've mentioned that earlier, so this still falls under the social benefit we expect to receive for being productive. Then not only that, we also have reduced burnout. Once you are productive, then you are not likely to have a situation where you are overworked because you pile up so many responsibilities without attending to them. But because you are being productive, you are able to avoid burnout or to reduce burnout situations within your organization. Then not only that, it has gone off. Okay. All right, increased happiness. I said earlier that we agree that the Latin maxim that says, nemo dat quod non habet, that you cannot give what you do not have. Do you think if you are not happy, you can make anybody happy? So first of all, you must what? Be happy. It's only what you have you can give out. So one of those benefits you can derive from being productive is what? Happiness. It increases your happiness. It gives you job satisfaction. You are satisfied. I have made my mark. I have made my contribution. Let me share this story with you. Recently, within the university, my university is still very new, we decided that we're establishing a journal for the college where I belong to. We presented it at the Senate, but we were sleeping over it, and before I knew it, the College of Public Sector Accounting, roll out flyers calling for paper submission. That night, I told myself, before I sleep, I must roll out the flyer. We must call for paper submissions. I can tell you, within 1 week, I got that journal registered, We collected papers, we have published, and this thing is already online. I can tell you the public sector is nowhere to be found. It's about commitment. Why? It's because I want to write my name in gold that I was the first person who kickstarted this. Others will only come and grow it from where you stop. Be productive. I can tell you, the other college is already coming back to ask us, how did you do it? There will be stumbling block. People will come and criticize you. It's not achievable. Don't pay attention to them. I can tell you, one of the things that came was issue that has to do with taxation. While I was registering with CAC, a colleague said that now that you have registered with CAC, do you know you are going to pay tax? I said, tax payment was not my problem. But what I want is to get results. We will pay. We will show that we are socially responsible and we are a responsible university. We are going to pay. So if I had listened, I can tell you, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that feat today. So there will be a lot of stumbling blocks. There will be a lot of comments to draw you back. But be focused. And I can assure you, you arrive at your destination. So I tell you, it increased happiness. Today I'm happy. I'm a happy person. Anywhere I am, I say it. Why? Is because I didn't allow those negative comments to weigh me down, and I'm able to get to where I am. What are the challenges of productivity that we are likely to face while trying to be productive within your organization? One is procrastination, delays. Are you the type that procrastinates? I will do it tomorrow. I will do it in the evening. If you are the type that procrastinates, you are not likely to be productive. Don't procrastinate. Start now. I can tell you that my thinking was that this paper will be presented tomorrow. So I kept on procrastinating. So when I arrived yesterday, I told myself, I said, it's better you get yourself ready 24 hours before the time. Even though I still have like 24 hours before my presentation, I told myself, I said, no, I need to work on this. I started working on it, only for me to get a call that the presentation is today. If I had delayed, I wouldn't have been able to paper. So don't procrastinate. The second one is perfectionism. There are some of you who want perfection. Want near perfect. You don't want anything to be missing. If you are the type, you might be falling for lack of productivity. I have a colleague that started a PhD program ahead of me in ABU. I started my own like 2 years after. So, and before you know it, within 3 years, I got my PhD, and he was still battling. Why? It's because he wanted something perfect, something unique. I used to advise my PhD student, I said, pick a topic that is easier for you to navigate. Get your PhD. After the program, you have all the time in the whole world to write a paper, publish them in Scopus, and it will still be read. Don't say you must have something unique. So that thing you are trying to use in impressing us are things that will make us even criticize you more. So pick something very simple. So don't be a perfectionist. That this is exactly how you want it to be. You want 100%. No. It inhibits product within organization. Not only that, we also have lack of motivation. Because some of us needed something to motivate us. We fail in that regard, and as a result of that, we become non-productive. What am I saying? Just look for one reason to motivate you. Even if you are to say that the entire salary payment of FRA staff rests on your shoulder, do your own responsibility. Because you must have something to motivate you to carry out that responsibility. So that's the only way you can be productive. Then not only that, burnouts, is one of those challenges that can also inhibit productivity. Don't pile up too many things. Don't bring files into your office that you know you cannot treat them or are not within the purview of your office. Once you have them piled up, I can assure you that before you know it, you may not be able to meet up with all that is required within your office. So it impedes your productivity level. So make sure you treat them. I used to have a lecturer who became a commissioner of finance in Kano State, and he said that one thing he does while he was a commissioner is to make sure that no file slips in his office. But the question that comes to mind is that while you are away and files comes in, how do you treat them? He said he doesn't leave office without handing over to the next person. So those files will be treated in his absence. So don't feel that you are the only person that can handle this. Delegate responsibility so that the level of productivity that is expected within your office will keep moving. Not only that, we also have this challenge, which is distraction. People are going to distract you. I mentioned that earlier. Don't allow any distraction, because once there's a distraction, I can assure you that it will stop you from being productive. Then time management is also very key. Some of us, because we lack the ability to manage our time, so it becomes a problem in achieving our set objectives and goals. So make sure that you're able to manage your time. You see, I can tell you, I may have up to 10 items to attend to. What I simply do is to create a list, and I'll create them in order of priorities. That this is what is immediate. So I make sure I set a target for myself, and I will achieve that. I can tell you, even while I start my PhD program, I already told myself, I said, I want to graduate in less than 3 years. What did I do? I created a timeline for myself, and I simply follow that timeline to the letter. But this is also possible with the support of the supervisor and the system itself. Because as you strike can just come, and your timeline will not work again. So you also require support from the other end. There are meetings and interruptions. You may have set up your files that you are about treating them, and a lot of meetings are coming up to derail you from that. So you must avoid meetings that are not important so that you can actually achieve your targeted objectives. So you must avoid interruptions. And the technology distraction, how many of us today that kept ourselves busy with our phones, things you're supposed to handle, that you're supposed to attend to, but because of the technology you have within your hands, it derails you from being productive within office. There's a time to hold your phone and play with them. But while you're in the office, face the business that took you to the office. Then not only that, we still have some other challenges of productivity, which is colleagues and team members. You might have colleagues that are not willing to assist you, that are colleagues that are just there to distract you, to take you away from your main objectives. And there could also be team members that are not willing to assist you in that direction, and that will inhibit your level of productivity. So you must avoid such kind of colleagues. They will come. Some are busy greeting everybody good morning here and there till the end of the close of work. So if you're not careful, you will not get results. So you have to find a way to manage such kind of colleagues. Then noise and distractions. Some of us don't like noise, some of us don't like distraction. So if you feel that the environment where you work requires your full concentration and noises around the area is disturbing your level of productivity, you can talk to those that are responsible in creating enabling environment for you to be able to achieve that level of productivity. Not only that, lack of motivation, I have mentioned that earlier, then ergonomic challenges. What do we mean by ergonomic challenges is that if, for example, within your office, you require a good seat, just a seat that will make you sit comfortable and be able to deliver your work, demand for it. For example, you realize that your office doesn't have an air condition. things that will make the environment comfortable for you are not there. Please demand for them, because that will inhibit your level of productivity within the office. So we call them ergonomic challenges. Then not only that, we also have work-life balance as well. If you are unable to balance both your work and your life itself, it can pose a challenge to your level of productivity, then limited resources. If there are resources that you require within your organization to assist you in being productive, like some of you might require computer system. Without computer system, you cannot deliver, so demand for those resources that will assist you be productive for the organization. Then unclear expectation. Some of us don't even know exactly what our expectations are, what the office expected of us. So once you don't know, or once they become unclear to you, then you cannot achieve any productivity. Then changing priorities. It is you that decided today that this is what I want to achieve. In the middle, you begin to change your priorities. You want to now go into something else. I can tell you, you keep moving from one priorities to the other and you'll never achieve anything. So you must make sure that your priorities are set right from the beginning, and that is what you are heading for. All right. What are the strategies for boosting productivity? One is goal setting. You must set your goal right from the beginning, that this is what I intend to achieve. So once you give an emphasis to the importance of setting the clear and achievable goals and provide tips on how to set SMART goals, which is specific, your goals must be specific, they must be measurable. Not only that, they are achievable. Don't set a target that you cannot achieve. Be sure, be rest assured that you have done your risk assessment and everything you have here, you are sure you can actually achieve them. Then not only that, are they relevant? You know, in accounting, there's what we call relevant and irrelevant cost. There are costs that are irrelevant to you. So only concentrate on those ones that are relevant for you in achieving your goals. And not only that, they must be time-bound. You can't be attempting to achieve a goal without setting a timeline that you want to achieve the goal. Today, the service has set a target for 25.2 trillion. And the target is within what? 2025. That's the time frame. If it has been made open, then we will never achieve it. So it must be time-bound. Then not only that, the time management is also very key to being productive. If you are somebody who doesn't manage your time well, you can never be productive. You should be able to manage your time very well. It's critical for you being productive. Not only that, task management. How are you also able to manage the task given to you? When I talk about task management, it's about you breaking them down into simpler forms, such that once you are able to achieve this, it will lead you to the next one. But if you allow them to be too cumbersome, you want to achieve all at the same time, you may not be able to achieve them. So you should be able to manage those tasks very well as you assign. Then not only that, avoid distraction. It's one of the strategies for boosting your productivity. Avoid distraction. I can tell you, I can be seated right beside you. You are telling me a story, and I'm on my system and still working. And that is the way I do. So I'll keep one ear to you, and I'm doing my job. But at the point you realize that the attention is not being given, and you ask, did you know what I was saying? I said, all right, I'll come back to you. Let me concentrate on what I'm doing. Yes, I'm somebody, an individual that doesn't like distraction. Even at home, my family is aware. Once I'm on the system, they don't disturb me. All right, so once you know that those distractions are capable of derailing you from your main objective, avoid them as much as you can. And finally, self-care. This self-care is very, very important. I said earlier, I said you cannot give what you do not have. Please take care of yourself. What I'm saying now is that your health is very important. As we all agree, with you or without you, FIRS will continue to exist. So, you must take care of yourself. Your health is very important, is very key. It's only when you are healthy you can contribute to FIRS. It's only when you are in good, right frame of mind you can contribute to the service. So you must take care of yourself. Even if it requires creating a time, weekend, even if it's an exercise, go and give yourself the best of treats. You deserve it. All right? It's very, very important. It's key for survival of even the service itself. So we need you, but you also need yourself as an individual. So take care of yourself. Now, so that I won't waste much of your time, I'll just read some of the consequences of not being productive. One, there will be missed opportunities. If you're not productive, you will miss a lot of opportunities. Anytime there is need for recommendation, be rest assured you will never get it. But why? Because you're not productive. If Oga has to think about who can I give this task to get me result, he will think of somebody who is what? Productive. So if opportunities are coming along those tasks you are assigned, you are likely to miss those opportunities. Then the next is what? Decreased motivation. You are likely to be what? Demotivated. You will be demotivated. Why? Because of what? You are not being productive. Not only that, it also increases your level of stress. Because once you pile them up, you are not dishing out files as expected, you are not visiting offices that you expect to visit on time, then it increases the level of stress you have within the organization. Then not only that, poor time management. You are unable to manage your time because once you have piled them up and you are not releasing them, a time will come that you don't even have the time again to manage those issues. Then not only that, negative impact on mental health. You have piled them up now, so it is now time for you to attend to it, and now you don't even have time for your health. Then the next is what? Career stagnation. Nobody will look at your site when it comes to promotion, when it comes to recommendation. Why? Because you are not productive. You are not adding anything. So if you want to become the coordinating director, please be very productive so that you rise to that rank. All right? It takes a lot to get to that height. So if you don't want career stagnation, be very, very productive. Then reduce earning potentials. If there is need for your boss to consider you for any training, since you're not productive and you're not adding to any services, you will not be recommended. And you know some of this training come with some perks. There are a lot of advantage you get from attending trainings. Then not only that, all right, poor reputation. All right, if you want to build an image for yourself, that even long after you leave the service, you have a reputation to protect, you have something to fall back on. Be productive while you are in service. So decreased job satisfaction, I've mentioned that earlier. Then termination. If you're not careful, your appointment can be terminated. All right, not necessarily the final termination, because Oga said earlier that if the TCs are not working together with the auditors, what will happen? Yes, sir. It's a form of termination, right? So there must be harmony. So you must be productive. And one of the ways to be productive is to collaborate. All right? So if you are not, it can lead to termination of that particular appointment. So strained relationship. Once you are not being productive, your guy will not like you. So you just realize you have a problem with your boss in the office. Both of you are always fighting. You greet him, he's not even responding. Why? It's because you are not productive. Then social isolation. If everybody in your office knows that you add nothing to the service, nobody will even look at your side. Anytime there is any team assignment, nobody will even put your name. After some while, you begin to feel that you are isolated. Nobody is carrying you along. Why? Is because of lack of what? Productivity. And finally, I said productivity is a powerful tool for personal growth. By mastering productivity, you can unlock your full potential, achieve your goals, and live a more fulfilling life. Remember, productivity is not just about getting more done in less time. It's about living intentionally, prioritizing what matters most, and creating a life of purpose and meaning. So as you continue your journey of personal growth, I encourage you to prioritize productivity and make it a core part of your daily routine. By doing so, you will be amazed at what you can achieve and the incredible impact it can have on your life. So let's make a commitment to ourselves to prioritize productivity, to focus on what matters most, and to create a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Thank you.
Please once more put your hands together for Professor Farouk Adeza Musa for that wonderful presentation. I've attended most of the sessions, seen his presentation, but today's own is very unique and great, rather greater. Please once more put your hands together for. We have a professor in the house. We will not allow him go just like that. So can we have him to just sit down, sir, for a while? Let's not have you stand up. Let's have him sit down for a while, sir. Thank you, Prof. Now, the Prof has spoken. We will ask one of ours also that we have in the house to please come up. He will be doing the questions and remarks on the presentation. Please, can you make welcome one of our best in the house here too. He is also a doctor. He is the Director, Intergovernmental Relations. Please help make welcome Dr. Umar Ahmed to please come forward to help do a little, he's not adding anything, but he will just take the comments, the remarks on the presentation. Sir.
So, what can I say? Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. My city, the coordinating director, PSG, thank you for coming. Now, let me attempt to make this very practical. I don't like it when there's so much theory. The presenter has done a great job, and I know there's so much to read about productivity, about unlocking your potential. Just go online and there's lots of information and data there. But in such a gathering of professionals of like minds, it's important to just talk about the things we do every day. Did you know that there is a template for unlocking your potential and for being productive in FIRS? Do you know there is a template for that? Are you aware? I'm asking. Okay. There is a template. And the template is in our 8 communications in the service. Did you know what these are? So you have your ethics, your motto, your logo, your core values, your ethics. What more? Any other? I'm talking about your 8 communications in the service. So I've listed core values, I've listed your logo, your motto, your no, not those. Not those. Now let me just restrict my conversation, my discussion here to and I'm going to be very brief, to our core values. Now, the core values is the template. Now, I use the word is there because I see that as a unit. The core values. Time was when those were captured or encapsulated in PIEO. Okay, professionalism, integrity, efficiency, ownership, and what collective responsibility. Now, how do you unlock your potentials looking at those? And how do you get productive? Maybe this is a perspective. It's not new knowledge, but perspective. My perspective here is that there's a template already. So, and somebody was talking about excellence earlier, whether it's a combination of skill and attitude or just attitude. So there's a quotation by Ralph, and I say, well, Ralph is an American footballer. That's just Ralph's opinion. But I'm saying that it's a combination of both. Have you heard about KSA? So you have knowledge, skills, and attitude. Okay? In education, there are 3 domains of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. KSA actually, fits into those 3 domains. To unlock your potential, it's important and to be productive to look at each of the 3 domains in knowledge, in skills, in attitude. And then excellence comes from each of those. Now let's take a look at our core values. Okay, so I have here, if you look at professionalism, what do you have? In times of yore, let me just bring back those core values. You have fairness, competence and know-how. You have continuous learning, right? You remember? You have respect for taxpayers. What? Constituted authority and what? And colleagues. Now you go to courage, integrity rather, and you have courage, you have candor, you have self-discipline, you have transparency. You go to efficiency, you have speed and accuracy. You go to ownership and collective responsibility, and you get partnering, information sharing, and team spirit. Am I making sense here? Now, in the new core values, what do you have? So I have here, and I'm happy that somebody has done something to say, look, these core values are under professionalism, this one's in the new core values, there's no demarcation of sorts, if you notice. Unlike before where you have PIEO. These ones are just listed. Am I making sense? Have you noticed that? So what you simply have is competence, respect, and ethics. And then you have candor, transparency, and discipline. By the way, the first actually come under professionalism, which is your P. And then you have integrity, and then you have courage, transparency, and discipline. And then you have efficiency. Those ones are maintained here. You have speed and accuracy. And then resourcefulness, or resourcefulness, if you like. Yeah, resources or resources. Both are correct. Now, you also have ownership and collective responsibility, and we have ownership, information sharing, and team spirit, right? And then you have something new entirely, which might fit into the old, equity, due process. Now, I'm asking, if you look at your KSA, if you look at the affective, or rather the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, you can actually look at each of these core verbs and begin to ask, in which of these areas may I unlock my potential and be productive? Now, some actually speak to knowledge only. Now, look at the first core value, professionalism. For instance, what does it say? Competence and know-how. You have competence in the new. Now, what may I do to be competent on the job? FIRS. You know what someone once told me? That look, if you want more collection, okay, if you want more money, your knowledge, your competence of the tax rules, okay, have to come in here. Somebody can look at a file, for example, and do an assessment of, say, 1 billion naira. Another person will look at the same file and write an assessment of 5 billion, right? What came in here? What's the difference? Yeah. Yes, competence, exactly. So you see, now how do I unlock my potential and be productive in that respect? By doing what? What do you think we can do? What? Knowledge, right? Because you see, it's about being self-aware. Because what he has said is that to be, what does it mean to unlock your potential? Yeah, let me just wear those glasses. Or these glasses. You have to be self-aware. Set your goals. Develop your skills. Have a mindset shift. And have support systems where you have people like the CDs here being your mentors. And what are the benefits? Increased confidence, improved performance, enhanced creativity, better work-life balance, and personal fulfillment. And then what are the strategies? Seek feedback always. Step out of your comfort zone. Practice self-care, continuous learning, and celebrating success. So I'm saying here, for that key aspect, okay, knowledge, what can you do to unlock your potential and be more productive? Look at your core values. The answer is there. Okay, now but respect is actually an attitude thing. It's about the A, not the S, right? It's about the A. So if I do that analysis here, I'll say competence is C, cognitive. Respect is affective, EI, emotional intelligence. Ethics is affective, also EI. Now, the next, courage, A, affective. Or is it knowledge? No, it can be. Is it skill? No. What is it? Affective, EI. Now, but how do you unlock your potential there? How do you become productive? Courage. Courage. It's not easy to be courageous. Is it? It is not. It's not. It's not. To be transparent, how many of us can unlock our potential and be productive when we look at those values? How many? Self-discipline. Now look at accuracy. Now accuracy is psychomotor maybe. So I give you an assignment to do, or you write a simple memo, a 4-paragraph memo, and you're wasting sheets of paper, like 5 sheets of paper. That's not being efficient at all. How do you become productive in that respect? Speed. Do you want speed? How do you attain that? Resourcefulness. Now ownership, information sharing. You don't share any kind of information in the workplace, because that could be counterproductive. Counterproductive, right? Now, what you have to be effectively, what? Intelligent, emotionally, to keep information away from other people. Very important. Yeah, yes. That's what happens when you give the mic to somebody, because I have so much to say here. As a matter of fact, so much. And I want to make this very practical because it's about FIRS. It's a document that we keep carrying about for years. It's our core values. Very important. But let me just, maybe, because of that, let me just stop there.
Thank you.
And say that the template for unlocking your potential and for being productive is at your fingertips. That document you carry about every day. And other aspects of our 8 communication. They will tell you what to do to unlock your potentials, to be productive. That's why probably people sat down many years ago and came up with those. I'm talking about the workplace and beyond the workplace. My professor, thank you very much for your paper.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Come, see.
Okay. All right. Can you put your hands together once more for my professor and my doctor? You see, when you have a professor and a doctor in the same place, you probably have to wrestle the microphone from them. So, but we will have opportunities to ask questions. We cannot have such a presentation without questions that follow. So please, my CD has permitted us to take questions. This very important presentation. We have also begged him to make available the slides for some of us to maybe go through at the end of the day. So do we have questions, please? If we have questions, you could just have your hands raised up. Do you have questions? Okay.
Thank you very much, the MC. My dear colleagues, for those of us that followed us live when we had the Abuja session, the professor presented a paper on accountability and responsibility in the workplace. Well, in Lagos now he's presenting on unlocking your potentials. So if you had followed the Abuja session, in addition to you would have had one or you were not there, but it was streamed online. Yes. And we sent out the links, and of course we're going to put all these papers together. It's all in an attempt for you to at least learn something. I have this belief whenever you listen to someone speak, especially people of this caliber, you will have to have one or two things as your takeaway. Am I making some sense? I have learned a lot from them now. The floor is open. We want to close as soon as we can. But please, my message to you all the time is that whatever you have learned here, when you get back to your respective offices, do a mini retreat for your staff. Let them also learn. Let them also benefit. Are we together? When the chief of staff presented his paper to us in Abuja, and unfortunately he couldn't make it to Kano, I made a statement there that I can share the slides with you. But if it is not the chief that comes to present, you will not just learn anything there. Or rather, what you are going to get from there is not going to be as rich as, you know. For the professor's paper is something that we can just share to you. But can you just, the takeaway, would it be as much as? So let us unlock our potentials, please. The floor is still open. Thank you, my esteemed, so this time around, academician and a taxman turn. I don't know how to. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. I have a very long relationship with the two of them. Dr. Umar is a childhood friend. We did a master's degree sometime in AB in one course that I don't even use now. Professor Farouk was one of my supervisors in my small letter PhD that I just obtained. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. There is no small P. It's always a big PhD. Thank you very much. So we'll have opportunities for 3 questions. Do we still have ushers in the house? Do I still have my ushers, or have they retired? Ushers, if you're here and you're not retired, can I see you immediately? My ushers, if you have not retired. No, the ushers are not praying yet. My ushers, if you are not retired. They are not there now. Organizers, take note, my LOC. No, sir. All right. Question? Okay. All right. Thank you, Silas. Just one question behind there. Just right behind you there. And there's another person here. If you have your questions, please let's have your hands raised up.
Okay, I can go ahead. Thank you, Prof, and thank you, Doc. I'm Dr. Indamola Ibiowu. And I want to thank you for that presentation. But I have a question. Luckily, most of us that are here, we are senior officers and we are heads. And I believe what should be one of our take-homes is encouraging an atmosphere. Is this thing working at all? Is encouraging an atmosphere for people under us to express and to fulfill their potentials. And I want to put it to the Prof. I don't know if you work in civil service. It's a bit different from academics. I'm in both. And I found out that in academics, there are many outlets to express yourself. You can write a paper, publish in international journal. But in civil service, there is a slogan I learned. Let me give an example that is past. When I was an entry-level staff officer 2 at the Central Bank of Nigeria, we had a meeting and the governor of the Central Bank was unveiling some of the policies that the Central Bank will be embarking on. And then he asked a question and I raised up my hand. And I said, no, structural adjustment program is still in progress in this, because I was at the economy. I just said my position and how it's going to affect welfare. Oh, I nearly died that day. Because the director of my department was shaking. His body was shaking. And then he asked for my head of division that this girl was not tutored. And then he made me to write a lengthy apology letter to the governor for that I'm young, I'm this, I'm that. And I just used that example. I'm a deputy director now, but I don't think I've really changed so much about, like, if I have an idea or something. But in civil service, the slogan is wait for your time. And that slogan for me, I've heard it countless times, which is a caging principle. How do you navigate and be happy at work? I've gone through season, I'm happy I'm in a season in which I can express myself. But I've also been in season in which I have to do that. And sometimes you don't want to go to work. How do you maintain happiness in an environment in which your idea may not matter for some season, or it's not to be had? How do you get happy? Then number 2, how do we create such environment? In FRS, we have channels, and many times I can testify that many times management will say, if you have idea, write it in, and happy I've done that several times. But can you just speak to that? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll have the response now as we round up for today. We'll just have the response so that we don't keep going up and down.
Doctor, at your entry level then, you said your boss or your director was shaking. Don't forget, you now have another director, current one, so he was also shaking at the same time. So your current director is also shaking now. So look at it this way. Please, we're being streamed live. And the Emerging Taxpayers Group is the only group's retreat that is being streamed live. All these things are for knowledge purposes, for us to improve ourselves. I don't want to open any debate. It's for us to just improve, have 1 or 2 takeaways. So I'm not going to open the floor for any questions. We're going to break out tomorrow, so you can just add it to your discussions tomorrow in your respective groups. And there's this slogan that says, wait for your time in public service. As far as I'm concerned, I've said this several times, I'm a testimony. All the things we assume happens in civil service does not really happen. I still believe people get things on merit. This last promotion, Mr. Ayeni came to my office. It was an online examination. I think 80% of the people are interviewed online. I've never even seen them. And when the results came out, a lot of them got promoted. Yes. merit still works in public service. It's not a way that you think, okay, you will wait for your time. Definitely you have to wait for 3-4 years before you are promoted. And if you pass it, but the concept within which we use wait for your time, it's as if somebody is trying to press you down. I'm a testimony, my brother. I have never missed a promotion in FRS. Over 3 or 4 successive chairmen that I never knew. When I was an assistant director, I became a DD under. I know he interviewed me. After my interview, he gave me his card. I prepared, and by his grace, I got it. When Mr. Nemi came on board, I have never had a word with Mr. Nemi. Wallahi azim, I am fasting. And I got promoted to a director under Mr. Nemi. I couldn't have been a boy to Mashi when I was an AD, to Fowler DD, to Nami director, to Zach CD. If I want, sorry, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Work hard, have faith. While growing up in my own career, don't allow my face to deceive you. I have spent 30 years in public service. 30 years, yes, 30. I served in 1995, 30 years ago. Though I started early, alhamdulillah. But don't assume all these things there is a way you, Director TPSD was Director VAT when I was CD GTOG. Ask her how she got her promotion to director. She missed the first one. The second one, she came to my office. I said, Madam, you can get it. You're good. And she got it. Ask the big 4. I handpicked all of them one-on-one. Not based on any sentiments, based on their track records. Merit still works in public service. Have faith, unlock your potentials, use some of these tips, and you'll be there someday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one last word from the professor, and we close for the day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. I just want to respond to her first concern, where she said she stood up to talk and, somebody was afraid. You see, your mode of communication is very, very, very important. Even if you have a boss that is junior to you, the way you present your case to them matters a lot. Let me give you an example. Somebody who is short always feel that you are looking down on them. So one thing you simply do is to study the nature of that individual on how to present your case. And at times, some of us, the way we talk could sound abusive. It could sound as if you want to take charge. And your boss is always your boss. So it's important you mind the language of your presentation. Because the same thing you say that you are awarded, you could still say them and you are punished for it. So your presentation matters a lot. During Abuja retreat, I did mention that the school where my children are attending, when I wanted paying their school fees, I reached out to the head teacher and he said he's no longer there. So I asked, what is the issue? He said the owner of the school was actually not happy with him because he allowed the children of those who are yet to pay school fees to write exam. And he said to him that, see, we need to be very diplomatic with the way we deal with this parent. So if I had stopped them from writing exam, and if they pay, how do we now write the exam for them? You see, this same presentation he did, he can do that same presentation in another language. But because of the way he presented it to the owner felt, you can't be commanding me, and also be using the language that we need to be diplomatic. So the owner there and then sacked him. So your language of presentation can take you far, and it can also take you behind. Thank you.
Much. Can we once more put our hands together for the professor and the doctor as we ask them to just stand up, and we have our CD to please join them for a group photograph. Do we still have our photographer here? All right. So let's have our CD, and may I also call on the Big Four to please identify with them. The Big Four to please identify with them. Do we have Dr. Daniel around, sir? Good. Let's have the Big Four to also take a photograph with them. Before we close for today, recall I will be having our group discussions tomorrow now instead of today. But before we go, I will call on one of ours there, one of the Big Four, as he steps down from the photograph there. Okay, so thank you very much. Okay, can we just take a bow and step down now? Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, most especially my CD. Okay. All right, so can we just put our hands together once more for Dr. Benga Daniel for to set the ground rules for today, tomorrow's activity.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My CD and distinguished staff. We are going to have a breakout session, and one of the things why we are here today at a retreat, it's for us to promote what we call team building, training, the essence of retreat. Team building, retreat, training, reflection, outside our usual work environment. Fostering a more relaxed and stimulating atmosphere for creative thinking and strategic planning. That's the whole essence of having this kind of retreat. And you agree with me that a whole lot of fun, commitment, resources has gone into it. And it will be foolhardy of us to live here without being re-energized, without having a different mindset, without going out with something that will impact on our job when we live here. And so we felt that being in Lagos, there's need for us to retweak what we've been doing. And that's why we introduced this breakout session. And we want it to be stimulating, all engaging, and we want everyone to participate. So we will break out into groups, the syndicate groups, and we're going to discuss this following. And they are very clear, and what we want you to do. Because at the end of the day, the list of us, when we close tomorrow, the list of us, if we are customers on the road, we should be able to say, if I ask you, what did you get from where you went to? You should be able to speak and talk to everything that we have discussed here. If we can't do that, then we are failed. So that's the essence that we're going to have this session very early tomorrow. We're going to be reviewing the CD's presentation. It told us about 2025 vision for ETG. So all the group will review all these things that we have said. So we're going to be reviewing that. Then we're going to review the paper presented by Prof. Very, very apt. Unlocking our potentials, the power of productivity. And the group will be looking at interrogate what the panel session discussed. And we're talking about the emerging taxpayer group, journey so far, and the way forward. So each of this group will look at all this presentation, and you come, and tomorrow morning you have 5 minutes to come and tell us what will be our take home. What have you been able to sieve that we can take as a parting gift, that we can take to our various destinations, and we impact our job and improve what the government has given us to do as as a group. All right, so each group will nominate one person to speak on their behalf. What we have done is to quickly get a team lead or a group lead for each of the group, and the group will now nominate their secretary and their spokesman. So at the end of the day, when they do the presentation, there will be time, to ask questions by the audience and everybody. So for group one, we're going to be having Oluola Olumide Adebenga as the group lead. You have group one, that's group one there. So Oluola will be leading as a team lead for the group. And they are at liberty to choose who their secretary will be. Now from group two, we'll have Adrije Chinedu Shilo. Is he here? Yes. All right, so he will be leading group two. Group three will have Adeyemo Stephen Adekunle will be the group lead. And group four will have Umar Gabriel Garba. Like I said, what you're doing is to examine and review all that has been presented. And from it, sieve out what can be impacting. I mean, you will review the CD's presentation, your input on the new strategies and the way forward, you make input. You look at the professor's contribution as well. And then you interrogate the panel session, emerging taxpayer group, journey so far, and the way forward. That's what we'll be doing. And tomorrow, you will do your presentation, 5 minutes presentation. There's a format for the presentation. You have the key discussion points, the key takeaways, and the action. The key takeaway, identify the most important insight and conclusion. Then the actions and then list any specific action or tasks that need to be completed. So that's what will guide your presentation tomorrow. So we'll give you 5 minutes to do your presentation in the morning. Then we'll probably have questions for 5 minutes. Within 30 minutes, we wrap up, and then we can go to other business tomorrow morning. So thank you very much. My CD, sir.
Thank you very much. Put your hands together once more. So if you don't mind, I call you Otumba Gbenga Daniel. Please put your hands together for him. He's shaking his head. Okay, Dr. Gbenga Daniel, please. Thank you. No, sir, we can't swallow the doctor. Thank you, sir. Okay, for the group heads, I've spoken to the secretariat there. Those nominated as the group heads, the presentations are available just at the secretariat there. You make sure to get the slides, the CD's presentation, the professor's presentation, and all other presentations that will help you in what you're going to do tomorrow. So before we round up, once more, if we still have the photographer here, we will still continue with our group photograph for today. May I, at this moment, call, okay, outside? No. We're still doing, yes. May I call on the 2 CDs, my coordinating director, People Services Group, also our host, the coordinating director, Emerging Taxpayers Group, to kindly come forward. Then they will take 2 personnel. Then we'll have the Big Four and the directors here present to join them. So can my CDs, can you please? Thank you. All right, right here, yes. Okay, would you prefer? Photographer, should they be on top? Okay, on top, sir. So can I have the Big Four and other directors after this one? Okay, can I have the Big Four, the Director Taxpayer Service, Director Intergovernmental? Sir? Careful, sir. Can I have the directors in the office of the CD to join them now? Director, sir. Sir, have you forgotten, sir? Doctor. Doctor, have you forgotten? No, so, sir, please join us. You are still, director, sir. Director, okay. You're welcome. Okay. So can we have the representative of the Director of Human Capital, the DDs in the house, please? Can you come forward? The DD's Office of the Coordinating Director? Yes, sir. No, they remain. No. The Big Four will remain. The Big Four will remain with the CDs. Yes. The Big Four will remain with the CDs. It's your group, so you own the group. All the DDs, the directors here, you know. Okay, the CD and the CDs and the Big Four can drop so that the rest of us can come behind. After that, yes, all the DDs, aspiring directors, are future leaders to. Now, after this, I'll have all heads of audit to also come forward after this is done. After whether new or old, DD is DD. Whether brand new or dust has covered your own DD, it is DD is DD. You're not smiling. It's not a firing squad. Please put a smile on your face. All right. Now, my Big Four and the CDs will still please remain while the DDs go back, but the Big Four will remain. Now, heads of audit. Heads of audit, if you're here, heads of audit, you please come forward. Heads of audit. Careful. Thank you. Heads of audit. Heads of audit, we see you, we recognize you, we identify with you. Be careful, heads of audit, watch your steps. Let's have okay. Some of you should go back now. There's no space in front anymore. That front will not accommodate all of you. The last person should. Okay, please make yourselves visible. We want to be sure we saw you here, heads of audit. After this, we will have the coordinating director with the staff in the office of the coordinating director. Angela, if you're here, please lead. Oh, tax controllers, they've not. Okay, after this, my tax controllers. My hands are up for you. Our landlords. All right, tax controllers. My tax controllers. Oga Chinedu. My tax controllers. My TCs. Please make way for my tax controllers. Lagos and Ibadan tax controllers, not only Lagos. Please make way for my tax controllers. They are one of the most important people in our group here today. Tax controllers, now so na plenty for Lagos. No wonder you are doing very well here. Photographer, can you see them? It looks like photographer have to stand on something. No? If God has blessed you with some height, you may just want to go backwards. Sir, you need to go back so that we can see you better. Can you see him? Okay, sir. Now, those in the office of the coordinating director, emerging taxpayers group, where is Angela? Where is Angela now? They are coming, sir. Office of the coordinating director, emerging taxpayers group. Sir, we are coming. The road is blocked. Office of the coordinating director, emerging taxpayers group. Angela, where are you? Okay. Office of the coordinating director, emerging taxpayers group. Can I see all of us? I am also a member. And there's lunch. Lunch is set already. For those who are having the two, just make sure you have your tickets. Where is Frank? Thank you very much. All right, lunch is served right by my left-hand side as you step out. For those of us having takeaways, just make sure you have your tickets and you're going to grab your takeaways. Please, we'll begin by 9 o'clock dot tomorrow. You may want to say 9 o'clock sharp. We'll be here by 8:30 as we begin. Is the photographer still here? Essay to the chairman on broadcast with the coordinating director. Photograph. Yes, he still is coming. Mr. Jaffet. SA to the TA to the Executive Chairman on broadcast. Is TA New Media around? The location, once you step out of the hall, just extreme left, ushers will direct you. Mr. Jaffet, maybe you come to the front. My CD, we still need you here, sir. My CD, sir. TA broadcast. Okay. Okay, rapport to us. All right, TA broadcast to the Executive Chairman with CD. All right, thank you very much. Lunch is served. As you step out, just by your left-hand side, you can just go out and grab your lunch. For those of us who have tickets, please grab your lunch as you leave the hall. Yes, MC with the coordinating director. MC with coordinating director special. Mr. Jaffet, MC with coordinating director. My CD, sir. Thank you very much. Who else? Interview very quickly.